Hi guys, welcome to the new tutorial. Today we're gonna create this awesome excavator from the scratch, and as always we have only one image. So let's examine the model and see what we got here. Have a look here. It's basically a cylinder, and these are the simple shapes, but we need to bring it together so that we come up with this little beautiful excavator. So we're gonna create everything except this guy because I don't like this. We're gonna make it empty. Okay, let's start. So we going to start either from here or from here. So let's start maybe from here. Let's start creating this. But first we need to put this image inside the 3D Max so we can see it all the time. For this we just drag this image directly to our perspective viewport and choose the first one, an environment background, a viewport background, and choose the viewport background. Then we need to adjust our viewport, because if we stretch our viewport like this, it's going to stretch with this viewport too. So we need to press Shift and F to make it bounded, and let's look the resolution of our image. So it is 900 to 900. So we know that the aspect ratio is 1:1, and now we need to change our render height and width to the same, like 640. And now we know that our image correct here. So let's create this hand here, and basically it's a cylinder. But we need to delete this part, and we also have these 3 fingers, and let's calculate how much segments we need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4 segments inside, and that's exactly how many we got. So we decrease this size to 16, because I always use 16 because it's divisible by 4, and when we do turbo smooth it's much more easy to work with. So let's delete these polygons and the other one, and I guess we're gonna delete these ones too, like this. Maybe the upper ones too. And now we need to delete this so that we got the fingers. And now we add shell modifier so that we get the thickness. Now we need to make it inside, and let's now add turbo smooth modifier. We need to make these edges harder, and that's why we need to add 1 segment to the shell modifier, and we can make it a little bit thicker. Okay, now let's see. Okay, and these edges are hard too, so we need to add 1 extra edge here. And let's add edit poly modifier after the shell, and let's double click to the side and see if it's all selected, and now press chamfer so that we make it double and make it close to the borders. Okay, and now let's add another edge here. Let's do it from the front view, and now let's add connect, let's bring it closer to the tip. Press OK, and turbo smooth. Let's add 2 iterations, and okay, our handle is ready. But I think it's too wide, so let's bring it closer like this. And the fingers are a little bit short, but we have a little bit long, so let's fix it too. Go to the edit poly and bring it up like this. Let's select this and adjust from here. Okay, let's use this button to see the end result, and if we don't happy with the result, we can adjust it from here with turbo smooth activated. Okay, now I think it's okay. Okay, we need to create this part, and now let's see what we got here. We have these polygons we can use. Let's select this, and the symmetrical side, and let's inset. And let's make it a little bit smaller, and now let's extrude. Let's extrude by local normals so that it gets a little bit wider, and now let's change it by hand. Let's scale it like this, and we need this part to be separate, so it's better to add chamfer to here. Let's add chamfer. Okay, now let's extrude these parts except this polygon. Now let's press extrude and adjust it from the front so that it looks like this and this. Let's change the vertices like this, and these ones too. Okay, and let's press turbo smooth. It looks somehow the same, but we need to make these edges harder. And let's select these edges. Okay, and let's press chamfer. We make it really small. Okay, now we have extra edge here. Let's delete this edge from top, from the front view. Select this edge. Select this edge and select this edge. Let's press Ctrl and backspace, and okay, now let's press turbo smooth to activate, and great, we have the exact same result. But now we need to harden these edges, also harden this middle part in this part. So let's select these edges and make connect and bring it close to the bottom. Okay, now we need to add polygons here, the edges here, and make ring. So we don't need to add edges here, because if we add edges here, this side would be sharp too, but we don't want this part to be sharp. So we deselect all edges here, or maybe from here even, like this, deselect inside edges. So we have only these edges selected, even this one too. Okay, now let's add our edges. Press connect and make it wider. Okay, press OK. Good. I just don't like this roundness here, so let's make it a little less round by adding extra edges, or maybe this, correcting this vertex. Okay, now it's good. Now let's fix this roundness too by pressing this button to see how we need to move it. And now it's okay. Let's select this one, see the end result, and move it as we want. And okay. Now I'm looking to this part and I see it's a little bit shorter than we got. So we select all these vertices and make it shorter, like this. We can even delete this vertex and connect this directly to the bottom. For this we just delete this edge, control backspace, and we add this edge again. We add this to this first, and from the other side, and we do the same with this. Because we don't need extra polygons after we do turbo smooth. Press connect. Okay, good. We got our claw. Now let's do this part, and it's basically the box, and let's create it from here, from the left view. Let's create the box, and make it thick. Okay, and now let's bring these lower vertices together. Okay, and now let's add two edges here, because we need to extrude these things from the box. Now let's add connect and make it wider, and now let's change the top vertices by hand. Okay, maybe we need to bring them close a little bit more, down to okay. Now let's extrude these bottom polygons and these top polygons. Extrude. Okay, and we need to make it a little bit smaller this way. Okay, and now let's make these edges round. Well, we don't need to make it with turbo smooth, we can make it with chamfer. Okay, let's chamfer. Okay. Okay. These black areas appeared because our two vertices overlap. To fix them, we just select these edges or these two vertices and press collapse. So we don't need two vertices here, we need only one. So let's select these two and make one vertices. Let's do the same with the bottom ones. Let's select, let's isolate to see it clearly. Collapse, and let's select these two. I'm making it wireframe because I don't want to select any other vertices. So it's better to use wireframe while doing collapse. Okay. Now we have exact this shape. So let's put it to the correct place. It goes here, but we made it really big. It's really small actually. Let's watch the size. It's really small. So bring our pivot to here. Okay. Now let's scale it. Okay. Let's scale it down. Okay, now we can proceed ourselves. Now let's make it a little bit wider. And let's do the same with the middle vertices. Okay. So let's fix the rotation issue. Okay. Now we need to add this part. And for this we need we need to add a box here. We just create this box. Like this, and we add two edges, convert it to poly, and we add two edges and bring them closer and slide it to the top, because we're gonna extrude this from these edges, from these polygons. So select this polygon and extrude. Okay, now let's add roundness. Let's select these two edges and these two edges and these two edges. Chamfer. Okay, now we need to collapse this too. Collapse, and this one too. And let's do the same with these upper vertices. Okay, let's bring it to its place. Let's make it a little bit thicker. Okay, and now we need to create this round box. So basically what we need is this exact box. We're gonna copy it and make it 0, and let's do symmetry to it. Apply and flip. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Okay, like this. And now we're gonna add extra edges in order to be able to bend it. So let's select this edge and chamfer it, make it wide, and add extra edges. Let's make it smaller. Okay, now we can connect these edges together to create another extra edges. Okay, now let's reset our X-form, and now we add bend modifier. Let's adjust angle. It first can do the weird things because we need to choose what axis we want to bend. Not this, we need this X axis. So we need to bend it more. Now let's see if we can use this one. Okay, I guess we need to make this object a little bit more smaller, like this. Let's make it a little bit to the left, and let's scale it to be able to fit here, and like this. Okay, great. So we have this, we have this. Now we need to create this this box, and it's basically the same with little bit adjusting. So let's select this and shift drag to make it copy. Let's make it straight by changing the rotation, and like this, or maybe we will rotate it later. We just take these vertices and move to the right and add extra edge here. Connect, make it 1. Okay, and let's drag this vertex to right, and let's bring this to the down and rotate it to make it right. Okay, maybe a little bit more. Okay, I think we got it. Let's see if we got sizes right. Okay, we need to adjust the size of this and this because we have very small. So basically we need to make it bigger and rotate it a little bit more. and we need to adjust the size of this too. Okay, and a little bit more, I guess. Okay, now we're gonna fix the thickness of this like this, and this one too. Let's make it a little bit longer, and let's make it smaller. And now we fix the thickness. Okay, good. Okay, let's correct this too. Good. Good. So we need to copy this to other side. Let's first fix this one. Okay, now let's duplicate and copy and make it mirror with y-axis and correct these planes. Okay, and let's duplicate this one. Okay, now let's okay, let's attach these ones together, and let's attach these ones together too, and let's change color to see them clearly. Okay, and let's attach these two, change the color. Okay, now we need to add these pistons here. It's 1 and 2. So let's do like this. Let's create a cylinder. First one we put here, and second one we put here. So let's draw here. Okay, let's delete these height segments. So adjust height. Okay, actually we don't need this entire space to be filled with this cylinder, because we're gonna make this metal part here. So let's decrease the height. Okay, and now we need to make this one. So we shift and rotate and press this button, and let's rotate it from the center. Let's shift and rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, and move to here. Okay. And now let's convert it to editable poly and delete this polygon, and we can delete this inner polygon too. Let's select this polygon and delete. Now we select the border and try to create these small details here. So we drag and press shift and scale down, and shift and move, and again shift and scale, and shift and move. Good. And here it's basically this. So let's make it symmetry. But first we need to attach this to the cylinder. Now let's add symmetry modifier, and now fixed angle by Z, and let's move this plane to its right place. Okay, now let's change it, convert it to back to editable poly, and delete this edge Control backspace and fix this because it's really small. We move it very close to this place. Now let's rotate it to see if it fits here, and we need to put our pivot right to here, and when we rotate we see it goes to center because it's because we change it to this. Now let's go back to the first one to be able to rotate from pivot, and now we see it's really small, so we need to move a little bit back. And now let's rotate again. We need, as we see, we need to do it a little bit more. Now let's see. Okay, it's okay. In order to make it able to place where we want, we need to turn this off. Now we can make it. Okay, good. And so let's add this metal part. Let's make it these parts a little bit smaller by scaling them down, and let's create these metal parts from these cylinders too. Let's shift and drag, shift and scale. Okay, and choose element. Let's scale them down. Okay, we got these metal parts, and let's adjust this scale. Okay, great. And now we can add select all the polygons and auto smooth them to get rid of these straight lines. Okay, now we add the same to here. Okay, let's select this and move it back to here. Let's go, and now we see where we need to put it. Let's rotate, and this one needs to be here, so we select the vertex and move it back to here. We can adjust, we can rotate it if it's necessary, and let's make it a little bit smaller. Okay, and we also need to create these pistons here, so let's copy and put it right here. And rotate it. It will go here. Yes. And now let's drag it down like this. Okay. And from here we don't need these parts. We need only the parts to the left, so let's scale them down, scale them in, and this one too. We also need it really small, so actually we can delete this inner cylinder, even this one. Okay, let's make it really small. And let's do the same with this. And we also don't need these cylinders, so let's delete them by selecting border, because we created this with border. Okay, and let's drag it back inside, and we can make it even more smaller. Okay, like this, and we can make it like this. Okay. Good. Now we need to create these bolts. We also need this cylinder here. We forgot to put this here and this here. So basically we just take this inside metal part and shift drag and make it separate object and adjust the pivot point, so make it to the center, and now let's put it to the place we need. Okay, and let's put it here, and we can make it bigger. Okay, let's make it a little bit smaller like this, and let's adjust the scale too. Okay, now let's create this bolt. Actually, if we create one, we can copy it all over the model. So let's shift drag. Okay, and let's first make this small cylinder here, this part, and then we need to create our bolt. Okay, now let's adjust the pivot. Okay, and now let's duplicate it. So this will be our cylinder. Let's make it chamfer. Let's control click to edge to select these all edges and press chamfer. And let's add extra edges and make it a little bit smaller. Okay, we can do the exact same with the back edges. Okay, now let's create our bolt. So what we need is to add this, to connect these edges, connect, and this edge, these vertices. So we got like something like this, and now we make it a little bit smaller. Okay, now let's extrude this 2 times. 1, 2. Okay, now let's isolate to see what we got. Now I guess you understand what we're trying to achieve. Let's deselect these vertices and scale them down. And now let's select these edges with these vertices and scale them down. Basically what we have is a bolt. Now let's fix the scale from the top. Select these vertices and scale them down. And now select these vertices and scale them down too. Okay, now let's see if we do turbo smooth what we got. First we need to create inset here, and then delete these polygons because we're not gonna see the back side of this bolt. So press turbo smooth. So it's not good because we lack some edges here. So let's select this and press ring, and select this, press ring. Let's connect and add 2 edges, make them white. Okay, but we don't need this white here, so we select this edge and select this edge and scale them down. Okay, now let's connect these vertices with this in order to get this rectangle here, and like this. If you want your model to be really good, you need to have only rectangles. Sometimes you can do exceptions, but it's really, you need to really try to avoid these triangles. So let's add one more, and let's connect this with these vertices. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Oh, it's really nice bolt we have. Okay, well, if you want, you can make it a little bit smaller again by selecting and scaling it. Okay, you can make it a little bit sharper, but I don't think we need to do this. This one is good. Okay, so let's place it to its correct place. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Okay. Now let's scale it like this. Okay. Now let's we would like to make it one and attach to the back object, and then if we need, we can add turbo smooth. Okay, let's copy this bolt all over the place here. Let's make instance. Okay, let's shift and drag. Now let's adjust their position. Okay. I guess we're gonna need this cylinder one of these cylinders here too, because it looks really empty. So let's scale. Okay. Now let's select all these bolts. So select similar and shift drag and mirror. Now let's position this correctly. Okay. We need to copy this to the left too. Let's copy. Okay, so I guess I make it a little bit far, so let's select this and bring it close, and select this one too and bring it close. Okay. Basically we have our claw ready. Now we need to create this part. So what we need to create is a box box here. We're gonna adjust the scale later. Now let's create a basic box. So these pistons attach to this box. Okay, and this box have little bit round top, and also it has the back part goes up. So we convert it to editable poly and extrude this part. Okay, and let's add extra edges here. Let's add connect edges. Let's first ring to add it all over the model. Let's add 3, maybe 4, and let's select these upper vertices and add FFT modifier, and let's activate this FFT and select this middle part and bring it up. Okay, and now let's convert it back to editable poly and select these upper back polygons and extrude them. Good. Let's extrude them, and as we see, this part is a little bit smaller because it fits inside this object, and this one fits to this object, and of course it needs to be wider. So let's add extra edge here by selecting ring and adding extra edge. Now let's select this back part and scaling it down to fit here. Okay. Oh, actually, I guess we can make it a little bit to the right, and we don't need to scale it too much. Okay, we just move this object a little bit to the right. Okay, and we scale it a little bit less, like this. So let's add, maybe we just scale it. Let's add extra edge here. Now let's scale it back to normal, this lower part. Let's do it from center. Okay, now let's add turbo smooth modifier to see how it looks. Okay, looks terrible. So we add extra edge closer to the front. Let's make it ring and add connect. Let's do it a little bit more, and let's add extra edge to the bottom. Let's change the position of this edge by hand. Okay, now let's see. Okay, now it doesn't look really terrible, and we have this part really smooth, so I guess we don't need extra edge here, and we have even two edges. So let's select this edge and delete it. Let's see what happens. Let's remove these vertices too. Okay, now we get it a little bit round. So after this we need to create this object and this front part. So let's duplicate our model and let's delete everything except this front part. Select this front part and press Ctrl I and delete. And now let's bring it back and scale it down. Scale it down really a bit and bring this lower part up. Okay. Now let's duplicate it, shift drag again and copy. And let's flip by clicking mirror. Now let's bring it like this and adjust this bottom part by selecting and pressing Z. No, maybe it's Y. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's not good. Actually, it's better if we do symmetry, or we just add extra edge here. Connect and move it down. So it's okay. Now what we need is, actually they are not going out like this much. Let's make it, move it inside. Okay. Now let's create this smiley face here. Okay. So let's actually make it from this box. Let's move it up, forward, and let's go deactivate the turbo smooth and delete this part inside. And let's delete these polygons too. Okay, now let's bring it up and bring this upwards just a little bit down, and let's scale a little bit in, and let's bring down these edges in order to make it a little bit round after turbo smooth. Okay, and now let's add shell modifier to give it thickness, and let's do it before turbo smooth. Let's decrease amount. Okay. Now let's add the box which is inside. Let's decrease it a little bit more. Okay, now let's duplicate this one and shift drag, and let's scale. Let's position this again. So this one is gonna be our face. So let's select this bottom part and bring it up. So let's make it a little bit down. Okay, and we need to extrude these two things from this model, and actually we can. Let's select these two faces and make it smaller. Make it first bigger, then let's make it smaller but separately. Now we can bring them closer together. Okay, let's make them a little bit bigger. Okay, now let's extrude. So extrude. Sorry. Extrude. and let's extrude one more time. Now we need to rotate this 90 degree. Let's rotate it 90 degree and move it like this to front and make them a little bit smaller. Now we need to adjust this back vertices like this. Now let's add chamfer to this edge in order to make it round. Chamfer. Oh, we forgot to add loop. Now we add chamfer. Oh, what happened? We forgot to select this one, and we need to correct actually this vertex too. Okay. Now let's add chamfer and add extra edges here and make it bigger. Okay. We can make it a little bit down. Okay. Now we need to add a cylinder here. And actually it's better if we delete inside polygons so it's not smooth. For this, select this. Actually it's selected. Let's press delete. And after turbo smooth it gets really smooth. So let's add cylinder. And like this, and one more to the left. Okay, and let's make it smaller. Okay. Okay, now let's add one more big cylinder by shift scaling down. Actually it's not big, it's long. So let's do like this. Let's make it longer. Okay. And now we need to add these wheels and one big box under this, behind this object. And actually we need to adjust this roundness. It needs to be sharper. And let's add extra edge here and bring it up. Okay, good. And we need to adjust the roundness of the back side of this model by selecting it and making a ring, and also doing the same here, and adding extra edge to the back. But we have selected, actually let's do it one by one. Let's ring and add. Okay, and now let's select the inside part and ring and add and change the value here. Okay, now our object will be sharp. Okay, now let's add one big box under all of these objects. So let's duplicate this, shift drag, rotate it 90 degree and place it correctly. Let's scale it. Let's place it correctly. Let's fix the position, move it back. Okay, let's adjust this object's vertices to make it a little bit to back. Okay, also scale it to make it wider. Okay, actually a little bit less wider, I think, like this. Okay, now what we need is create these wheels. After scaling this, let's adjust the pivot of this cylinder. Let's make it bigger. Okay, and let's make it a little bit longer too, because our wheels. And let's create these cylinders from this box, or maybe from this box. Let's shift drag it to right, make it bigger. Actually, first let's create this inside black part, and then convert it to editable poly and select all the polygons and extrude by local polygons, and then select all these polygons and extrude it to right. Okay, and in order to get rid of these straight polygons, let's select all this object and press auto smooth. Now they're gone. So so let's shift and drag this object to right with this all this object selected. Like this. Actually, I don't think this box is too long, so let's make it small. Let's select this wheel and make it back. Actually, I think it's way much bigger. Okay, and these ones too, and this inside part too, and it's less longer. So let's delete this back part and duplicate it one more time. Okay, and let's add this inside part, and it's basically the same box. Copy and rotate it 90 degrees and scale it down, and let's delete these inside edges, Control backspace, and let's weld all the vertices to get rid of these extra vertices. And now let's adjust our model. So it needs to go right inside these two wheels, and let's do it from the left. Let's scale it down, and let's see if it's right in the middle. Okay, let's adjust it by vertices. At least it goes a little bit out of these wheels. And let's chamfer these two edges. And as you see, chamfer goes wrong because we need to reset our X form, because we scaled this model by hand. That's why it gets distorted. Now reset selected and press convert to editable poly, and the normals get flipped. So let's select all the normals, all the polygons, and press flip. Now let's go back to our edges and chamfer them. Now as you see, they are right. Okay, here we go. Now we need to extrude this polygon inside. for this we need to first create this polygon, and now let's add two edges and make them go away from each other. And also let's select this and create ring. Let's select this back edge too and add two edges and move it to up. Okay, now we can extrude this edge inside like this. We're gonna add materials later, so don't worry about this. Now let's create this part and let's create it with spline. So let's draw. First I'm gonna draw straight and then I'm gonna make them smooth, so don't worry, it's easy for me, maybe you can do it differently. So let's select all these vertices and make it bezier, and now let's correct these beziers. Let's do like this and let's rotate this. You can even scale them. Let's do like this, rotate, scale, make it right. Doesn't matter how you do it, either by moving or rotating or scaling, just make it right. Okay, maybe we can delete this one too. We just need one. Select this corner and select smooth and select bezier. Okay, now let's see how it goes by selecting a extruding, or we just press rendering, enable render, and we choose not radial but rectangular, and as you see we got something like the trail. Like this. And we can decrease, or actually when we do like this it goes inside our wheels. That's why it's not a good idea to make it like this, to create it like this, but we need to have exact same polygon size all over this wheel, like rubber thing. That's why we need to add extra vertices here. Also we need to select this middle vertex and turn it like this so it has more polygons. Let's first create this, and now I guess if we adjust the right one, we're gonna get correct polygons. Okay, now we need to divide this edge like, I don't know how many times, like let's make it 7, divide and see. 7 is not right, so let's make it 20. Now let's see. Okay, somehow we got roughly same amount. Now we need to add, or maybe we just do it from the steps, but actually if we do it through the steps we get more polygons in the places we don't need. So let's divide this and this to the 8. 8 is not good. Actually we can do it differently, I guess. Let's go back and delete all these things. Let's do it like this. We get our pass. Now what we needed to adjust anything, maybe the box. Let's create the box and add the polygons as we want, like this. Now let's press animation, constraints, and pass constraint, and attach. And now let's, oh no, let's delete. We can do it through the modifier. Let's add pass the form, word space modifier, pick pass, and move to pass. So as you see, it goes to our spline. So adjust this axis, and now if we slide through %, we can see it goes right through our spline. And if we gonna stretch, as you see, it goes and starts connecting with each other. Now we make it rotation 90, and now we can adjust our box. By pressing this button we're gonna see the end result, and let's adjust height, and let's adjust the width, no, or just this length, and let's move it back to its place. Okay, and even we can adjust our twist, but we don't need to. I'm just showing you what you can do with it. And now we can add extra polygons if you like. Okay, so now what we need is isolate to change the pivot from left to right, or we may do the same result with rotating it minus 90 degree. Okay, so it turns upside down and goes up, so we avoid this penetration issue here and make it even thicker. Okay, and now we can convert it to editable poly, but it stays to the same place, it doesn't go. For this we can do it with measure object. Go to the compound objects and create measure, and select our box. Now this object is generated, and now we can use this object instead of our original box because it's editable poly now. So let's delete this box and delete our spline, and let's find where is our start and end and let's connect this by deleting these end polygons and start polygons and collapsing these edges, these vertices. Okay, now let's select, actually we have a few more polygons here and we can delete some of them. Let's double click here and press Ctrl backspace, and like this, 3 of them. Okay, now let's these two. Let's select all these polygons. Let's shift and select all this circle, and maybe we can do it with edge. Select these edges and extrude. And make it smaller. And now chamfer again. Okay, as you see, we got something similar to our object. So, end isolation, or we are not in the isolation mode. So adjust pivot, center of the object, and then move our object to its place. Okay. Now I guess we need to adjust the size of our inside object, because it goes inside and penetrates. Let's scale it down. Okay, good. And we can scale this too. Let's select all the side edges, side vertices, and move it to the side. Okay, and even more, I guess. And let's select these two side wheels and move them a little bit to the side and scale them down like this. Okay, now let's duplicate all these wheels, this object, and the I don't know what it's called, and make mirror Y axis. Okay, it's good. Basically, we're going to get good results. Now what we left is this cabin, so let's create this, and it's basically the box. Let's create the box. And it's a little bit bigger, and it's a little bit up. Okay. Oh, let's press Ctrl Z and decrease the edges and convert it to polygon and bring it down. And actually we can extrude these steps from our model later. So let's add two edges in order to create this window and make it wider. Okay, now let's select these polygons and inset them. Okay, and press delete, and let's add maybe shell modifier to make it thicker, to make it thickness. Okay, now add turbo mode, and to give this, to get rid of this roundness, we need to add extra edges, one from the bottom and one from the top. That's great. Select all the edges and add connect. Like this. Let's see. Okay, and now add this chamfer, press ring, loop, and again select the corner edges and press loop and add chamfer. Okay, okay. Now we need to get rid of this roundness inside, so let's select these edges and add chamfer and add 2 and make it wider. Okay, and now select these edges and connect, make it wider, and also select these edges and make it wider connection. So let's turbo smooth, and as you see we get, but it's too sharp now, we want it to be a little bit rounded. For this we select these polygons and scale them down and see. Okay, gets rounded, and now we can, I guess, select these lower polygons and bring them up a little bit. Okay, now it's good. And now let's select these upper polygons and bring them down a little bit. Okay, good. And I guess we're gonna move this lower side to down a little bit and select these vertices and move it down. Okay, and select this upper and go to up, and let's create this head of this cabin by selecting all these polygons and shift dragging up. Let's make it a separate object and scale this bottom part and shift dragging down and shift scaling in. So let's adjust the pivot to make it centered, and let's see what we got after turbo smooth. Okay, but we need a little bit rounded top. So we select this edge loop and control backspace to get rid of it. Okay, now we need this pipe going out frame here. For this, let's select this spline, first line, and draw this shape from the spline and click radial and enabling viewport and render and make it here. Okay, and make it a little bit thicker, and let's add the cylinder and maybe select this lower part and fix it and add one cylinder here, align it to our pipe and fix the position and scale it down maybe a little bit. Okay, now we need to create a seat. Let's move it a little bit side so that the part of this object don't go inside, and we can even remove this. And let's create this extended primitives chamfer box. Let's create the seat rotate it to make it spine. Okay, let's move it inside of the cabin and make it bigger, because what I got is really small. Scale it from center. Okay, let's adjust this, and let's duplicate this one to make it the bottom part of the seat, and make this fillet 0 to create the box, and scale it down, and now scale it up. Okay, now we create these handles. Let's create a sphere. And make it less, make it 16, and convert it to editable poly and align it to our seat. Now let's bring it forward, and let's select these edges and split and select this bottom part and delete, and select this border and shift drag it down. So we have handles here, and let's bring the pivot to down. Okay, let's make it like this and bring it close to the floor like this, and duplicate it by rotating it and pressing shift. Now we got two handles. Okay, now we need to create this holder of the cabin. So we create the box, and align it to our cabin and drag it here, and we scale and we adjust it, and now we extrude. So we extrude up. Now let's extrude to the right. Adjust it by hand. Now let's extrude it up again. Like adjust this position, and let's extrude from this side again, make it smaller. Okay, now I guess we did what we need to do. Let's adjust the position of these vertices. Okay, let's see what we got after turbo smooth. And now we need to add extra edges to make it look sharp, not round. So select these edges and connect, add two edges and make them go away from each other. And now we do the same with these edges, connect, and let's do the same with this edge. Press ring and connect. Now we need only one edge, and we need to make it to the right. Okay, and we need to delete these polygons, which is invisible, and make it Pro to see all edge polygons. Okay, press delete. Now we got what we want. Okay, it's better we create some edges here. Press connect. Okay. Okay, now it's good. We also need to add this one here. I don't know what is it, but we're gonna create something like this by creating the box. And let's add one edge loop here, select ring, connect, move it back, and let's create edge loop and move it to bottom. Okay, now add turbo smooth. Okay, maybe we need to add some extra edges here to the middle. Ring, add 2 edges and leave it like this. Okay, maybe we need to add one more, or maybe we need to scale this down like this. Okay, let's put it to its place and scale it like this. Okay, after creating these objects, I see that these objects need to be a little bit higher because it has a little bit space here. So we attach these objects together and select the vertices and bring it up like this. Okay, good. And actually we can see it from here. Now we can see ours from here too, so it's okay. That's it, guys. We created this model, and I guess we need to fix this and close the gap, make it cap, and even we can do this same with this, or maybe we don't need to. Okay, so we have this good excavator. Oh, we forgot to add this eyes and mouse. Good God, we forget this. And also we need to add this thing here. So we create the box. Also we need to create this sphere, 2 spheres, and we need to create this mouse here. Okay, let's create eyes. So convert to editable poly and select these polygons and extrude with local polygon and move it to the front. Select these edges and scale it down. Also select these polygons and scale it down so that it looks like eye, the black of this black of the eye, and scale it like this. And maybe scale these vertices to make it look like the light. So this is our eyes, and let's create this head thing. Adjust, convert to editable poly, and let's see how it looks like. So we have 1, 2, 3 polygons to extrude. So select edges, add edges so that we got 3, 1, 2, 1 more. Okay, so we add edge loop here too. So select these edges and add 2 vertices and move it to the side. Okay, and let's select 1, 2, 3 and extrude them inside. Okay, now let's select these edges and add 2 edges, make them go away from each other, and Okay, let's press turbo smooth, see what we got, and this is exactly what we want. We can make these polygons go further, and like this we can delete these polygons, back polygons, by selecting these back polygons and pressing delete. And we need to add one edge here. Connect, add one edge, and let's move it to front. Okay, and after turbo smooth it looks good. Let's move it to its place, and let's move I2. So it goes here. Let's scale it down. It goes here. Okay, and where is our eye? And eye goes here. And eye goes here. Okay. Let's scale and let's add the mouse. And so for this, let's select these edges and ring. Click connect and add two edges. Bring them close to each other and move them down. And let's select these polygons. And first let's select this polygon and move it down so that it looks like smile. And then select this and scale and extrude. You make it inside. And see how it looks after turbo smooth. It looks like smile, but we need to fix these edges to make it sharp. And for this we select these edges and ring and add like one edge and see how it looks like. Actually it looks better. Now we need to move it by hand by selecting these vertices and these vertices, not this one, and let's scale it to the side and move it a little bit up. Okay, looks good. So here is our tractor. Here is our tractor. I guess I made it a little bit smaller, but it's okay. It looks good. Let's remove this background. Press Alt and B and select use custom user interface gradient color and press OK. And as you see, we have great looking excavator. Press Shift F to see it full screen. And so in the next tutorial we're gonna create the materials and render it. So here is the result of our first tutorial. See you again. Thank you.